Hey there, my name is Cameron, also known as Venus Theory, and today I'm here with ILIO to show you how to get started creating your own custom patches inside of Plugin Guru's Unify. Creating your own patches in Unify is a lot simpler than you might think. In fact, it really only takes a couple of clicks to get started. So with that, let's put on our safety goggles and dive right into it. One of the fastest ways to get started with patching is to load different patches on top of each other as layers by loading them within an instance of Unify. So to do that, let's find a patch, maybe this Boom bass here. We'll right click on that and load that into a new Unify layer. You can also use shift click to do this a lot faster. So we'll bring that in. And now if we give this a play, we've got that patch loaded in. Let's find something else to complement that. Maybe like a pad sound or something along those lines. Let's grab this, so I'm going to shift click and that loads it in as a new Unify layer. Let's grab maybe some kind of nice pluck and a string patch to cap it all off. So if we find something like this, we give this a play. We've created this huge expansive patch. We could go in and maybe change the octave of a few things. We'll drop this bass layer down an octave, and then let's bring the strings up a fifth, and now we'll get something that sounds a lot cooler. And we've created this huge patch in like 20 seconds. This process is a lot of fun, and because Unify has such an expansive factory library, and considering that these are individual instances of Unify, so we could go in and tweak the individual layers, we could add MIDI effects, we could add audio effects, we could add sends, we can do all sorts of crazy stuff. You could really do just this and explore this for hours and hours and hours, if not several months, and never really run into the same sound twice. With that said though, if you want to get your hands dirty and make something from scratch, it's really easy to do that as well. So let's click the init button here and reload everything from scratch and start building our own instrument. With a new initialize patch, we can get started. Let's maybe change out the default synth for something a bit more exciting, like an instance of Dext here, and let's bring in just some kind of preset. I guess we'll do maybe this kind of cool key patch. So we'll start off with that. Let's add a couple basic effects to make this a little bit more interesting. So we'll go to the effects side here. Let's maybe start off with the omega delay. We'll go in and add maybe a little bit of reverb. So I guess we'll do the water verb, and then maybe just a little bit of a filter to mellow this sound out. So we'll go to the EQ and grab a filter max. Let's start tweaking this stuff a little bit and hear what we've got. With a few basic added effects here, this is what we've got. So that's pretty cool, but it's not really that exciting, and this is where the power of Unify comes in, because we can start layering different instruments and doing a lot of really cool things. Generally, you can get a lot of really cool results by keeping things simple, but once we start to harness the power of Unify and its different abilities, we can quickly make something that's pretty exciting and goes beyond what we can do in most traditional DAW setups. So let's get in and add another layer to this whole thing. So we'll add a new layer, we'll add an instrument, and let's maybe start off with the digits pad synth preset and see what we could do with that. To get things started, I'm going to go over here to the MIDI side of things and offset this by a perfect fifth or up 7 semitones. So this way, when we play just a single note, we're going to get a nice full fifth or power chord sound. To make this a bit more exciting as well, we'll go in and add a couple effects. Let's start off with the omega delay, because omega delay just makes everything sound really, really cool. We'll make a nice long kind of delay throw. Maybe add a little bit of drift to that, increase the feedback. Let's add a chorus, I guess. So let's go in here, we'll go to modulation, find the silky chorus. Let's just make that nice and slow, maybe increase the depth a little bit. And let's finalize this whole thing with another little bit of reverb. Maybe we'll do the Zen verb this time. So let's bring that down to the center. We'll maybe increase the pre-delay a little bit, and I guess everything else should be okay. Maybe we'll increase the low and mid release just to make it a bit more washy. Let's close that out and hear what we've got. So now we're really starting to get in business and things are starting to sound pretty cool. This patch sounds pretty neat, but I think it could benefit from a little bit of low bassy stuff. So let's add a new instrument. Let's go to the DX10, start off with the bass deep. Let's see what that's going to sound like. Within the MDA DX10 here, I'm going to drop the coarse down to 1 and increase the attack just a little bit, and now we should have a nice powerful bass sound to sit underneath everything in this patch. Nice. For a little bit of movement, let's add something maybe a bit more interesting. Let's go into the dynamics here and add a pump house, which is going to give us this kind of cool rhythmic pumping effect. Let's draw in a new curve here, and I'm just going to make it a bit more exponential looking. And now we should have kind of a cool grooving movement. Nice. Let's finalize this with one more layer. We'll begin by adding another layer. Let's go to the instruments. Let's do the Guru sampler, I suppose, and maybe do like a Rhodes or something. Let's see what that sounds like. Interesting. Let's maybe open that up and do something just a little bit different. I think we'll go in here and grab maybe just something like a waveform. Let's get a saw wave. We'll leave all these other settings together. Let's increase the resonance and change the filter just a little bit and tweak that ever so slightly. Now we've started to get a bit more interesting movement to all of this. Let's maybe add an arpeggiator as well. So we're going to go into the MIDI effects, and then we're going to find the arpeggiator. Let's do blue arp, and we'll find a nice arp preset here. With this arpeggiator added in now, we've got a pretty interesting sound. Maybe a little bit boring though, so let's go in and add just a quick bit of delay for some interest and movement to this whole thing. So we'll grab another omega delay and change the delay time slightly. Maybe we'll do something like a quarter and a dotted eighth, increase the feedback a little bit, and then we could just blend this layer a little bit lower in the mix. All right, and now I think we could do just a couple more quick things to make this really cool. First off, let's bring this ARP up an octave so we have kind of a bright shimmering layer on top of everything. And now we're going to key split it. So one of the things we could do is use these note ranges here to determine where an instrument is played on the keyboard. So a fast way to do this and to learn this is to right click. So we're going to right click the low MIDI key. I'm going to press where I want the lowest key to be. Cool. Now we'll right click the high MIDI key and do the same. So now on my right hand, we're going to hear that ARP layer, and everything else on the low hand is just going to be the other layers like the bass and the pads and the initial synth from Dext. So let's give that a play and see what we've got. Now, to get this all under control, let's add a couple quick master effects. So we'll go down here to the master section, go into the standard effects. Let's grab the MDA overdrive. We'll add just a little bit of heat to this whole thing, maybe about 8 or 9%. We'll muffle this a little bit to avoid any high-end kind of crispy stuff. We don't really want that. We want more of a nice warm sound like that. And just to make sure everything is under control, let's go into dynamics and add a loud max. So we can use this just to act as kind of a master limiter to make sure things don't get too kooky. We'll just drop the threshold to about -1 dB or so. And now with that, we've created our final patch in Unify. From here, there are basically unlimited ways that you could take this patch up to the next level, but I think I will leave that part up to you. You could do something like add more layers, you could continue to key split, you could have individual MIDI channels per layer, and of course you could bring all of your favorite compatible instruments, effects, and MIDI effects into Unify to go even further and lose many afternoons, if not entire days, creating your own insane, wild patches inside of Unify. And I think that wraps everything up for this one, so thank you for watching, and for more tutorials just like this one, as well as all of the latest updates from ILIO, be sure to subscribe to the channel down below.